You married my son for years now, yet no child has come from you.
I am sorry, Mama. Me and my husband is trying.
Trying is not enough. If you cannot give this family grandchildren, leave this house so a more fertile woman can. My son is very wealthy and my husband's name will not just be lost.
In a quiet village where the red earth remembers every secret, where the river watches silently from beyond the palm trees, and where a woman's worth is measured by the cry of a child, the ancient village of Umuakoro, where the red earth carried secrets and the river watched silently from afar, love once bloomed like fresh palm wine. Caro and AJ were deeply in love before marriage. When they finally wed, the entire village rejoiced. Drums echoed, women danced, palm wine flowed freely. But inside AJ's mother's heart, one desire burned stronger than celebration. She had lost her husband many years ago. Ajay was her only child. From his childhood she whispered constantly, "Ajay, you have no siblings. When you marry, you will give me many grandchildren." She said it in the morning, she said it at night. She planted it in his spirit. 8 years passed after Caro moved into her husband's house. 8 long years, no pregnancy, no baby's cry, no naming ceremony. The silence became heavy. The market women began to whisper. That Caro, barren. When AJ returned from work each evening, sometimes he would stop at the entrance of the house. If he heard his mother's voice rising like a storm, he would quietly sneak through the back door to avoid her nagging. One afternoon, the mother stood in the courtyard shouting, "I am not taking it easy. You want to bring shame to this family. 8 years. My mates are carrying grandchildren." Caro stood there, head bowed, hands clasped, tears rolling silently. The older woman stepped closer. "You are a barren land. My son is blessed with farmland, goats, palm trees. Which woman will not marry him? But he chose you." Caro's lips trembled. She said nothing. At night, when AJ held her hands to comfort her, his mother would stand outside their door, singing mocking songs. Songs about empty wombs. Songs about wasted marriages. Inside the room, Caro cried quietly against her husband's chest. Ajay would whisper, "The gods will remember us someday." But deep inside, Caro felt forgotten. One day at the market, Caro overheard women talking about the neighboring village, a place where women sometimes gave birth near the river according to tradition. That night, she did not sleep. A desperate thought entered her heart. If I cannot conceive, I will create my own miracle. She began to prepare. 1 month later, Caro announced, "Ajay, I am pregnant." Joy exploded in the compound. Her mother-in-law danced wildly, spreading white powder over her body. From that day, Caro began her performance. She folded soft cloths and tied them firmly around her stomach. She practiced walking slowly, hand on her waist, gentle steps. Every morning she took short walks so the village would get used to seeing her move around. When women greeted her, she rubbed her stomach gently. "The baby is strong." Her mother-in-law brought herbal mixtures daily. "Drink this for the baby." Caro would nod respectfully, but once the old woman left, she poured the herbs into the sand behind the house. As months passed, the fake pregnancy looked real. She even complained of back pain. She stretched slowly in public. She breathed heavily sometimes to make it believable. Everyone was convinced. In her 9th month, Caro told her husband calmly, "Ajay, I want to take a walk. The baby has been restless." He agreed. She walked slowly out of the compound. The villagers saw her. Everything looked normal. Hours passed. Then suddenly word spread. Caro was seen at the village square holding a newborn baby. Her wrapper stained slightly. She looked weak but smiling. She said, "An old woman helped me in the bush path. She was wearing white. I don't know her. She disappeared after helping me." The villagers gasped in awe. "It is a blessing. The gods have favored her. The mothers of the village have visited her." They called the child blessed. AJ cried openly. His mother wept with joy and carried the baby proudly. No one questioned the story. But the truth was darker. Earlier that afternoon, Caro had rushed to the neighboring river village. There, close to the river bank, a young woman had just delivered her baby girl. While the river priestess was assisting the woman who just gave birth distracted, Caro seized the child and fled. Because the child was inside the basket, off or close to the riverbank, the mother would be separated from the baby for some hours. The river shimmered strangely behind her, but she did not look back. They named the girl Adaiz. She grew into a beautiful child, but she was different. Sometimes water droplets formed on her skin. Sometimes she stood at night staring toward the river. She would whisper, "My time is not forever." Ajay's mother began feeling uneasy around her, but no one knew the truth. But unknown to them, Adaiz was not an ordinary child. She was daughter of the river. 10 years later, Adaiz grew into a stunning young girl. Her beauty was unnatural. Her eyes shimmered like water under moonlight. Sometimes at night she whispered, "Mother, my time is almost up." She would stand outside staring at the moon. She spoke to herself whenever she was alone, or perhaps something was speaking back. Caro knew that she was no ordinary child, but she loved her nor willing to give up on her AJ's. Mother felt uneasy around her. "She walks like she belongs somewhere else," she muttered. She would say, staring at her with the very angry eyes. One afternoon, AJ was bitten by a snake on his farm. The venom spread quickly. Herbalists failed. Prayers failed. They carried him to a powerful priest in the neighboring village. After deep divination, the priest spoke, looked at Caro, and thundered, "Woman, you are the cause of this suffering. Confess now, or your husband will die. His mother will die. His entire lineage will perish." Caro trembled. Ajay's mother fell to her knees. "My daughter, please confess. I do not want my son to die." Under unbearable pressure, Caro screamed, "I stole the child. She is not mine. She confesses everything." Then the priest turns to AJ. "You, AJ, carry the affliction. Your seed was weak. That is why no child came." Silence fell like thunder. The mother-in-law staggered backward. The priest continued, "Because blame was placed wrongly, darkness entered your home. The river demanded justice." They quickly took her to the riverside, the same place she stole the child from. Immediately, the water began to swirl violently. A giant fish rose from the depths. The priest performed powerful rituals. Drums echoed. Incantations filled the air. Suddenly, the child collapsed. Adaiz fell unconscious. The priest raised his staff. "If the child wakes before midnight, the river goddess accepts repentance and allows her to remain. If she does not, she belongs to the water." The entire village waited in fear. Hours passed slowly. At midnight, Adaiz gasped and opened her eyes. At that same moment, AJ's fever broke. The snake venom disappeared. The river became calm. The curse was lifted. After the restoration, the priest prepared herbal treatment. Ajay completed 1 full year of herbal treatment. His strength returned completely. 1 year later, Caro conceived naturally. This time there were no lies, no hidden cloths, no deception. She gave birth to twins, healthy, strong. The compound overflowed with laughter. Ajay's mother held Caro's hands and wept. "Forgive me." The village felt shame. They realized their mockery had pushed Caro into desperation. As a family, they returned to the river, this time with offerings of gratitude. Years passed after the birth of the twins. Peace returned to Umuakoro. The compound that once echoed with mockery now overflowed with children's laughter. But Adaiz was changing. She was no longer a child. She had grown into a graceful young woman. Her beauty was calm, not loud. Her eyes carried depth, like someone who had seen beyond the physical world. One afternoon, AJ's mother fell ill, a strange fever, her body weak, her breathing shallow. The herbalists tried. Nothing worked. That night, Adaiz sat quietly beside the old woman. She placed her palm gently on her grandmother's forehead, closed her eyes, whispered softly. No one understood the language. It sounded like water flowing over stones. By morning, the fever had disappeared. The old woman sat up strong and hungry. The village was stunned. Soon other strange things began happening. A child with a swollen leg healed after Adaiz touched the wound with water from the river. A farmer bitten by insects recovered after she prayed over crushed leaves. She began visiting the river at dawn, not secretly, openly. She would collect water in a clay pot and speak softly into it. One day, Caro followed her quietly. From a distance, she saw her speaking to the water goddess. Adaiz say, "Mother of waters, I understand now. I was never stolen. I was sent." Caro froze. Sent. Adaiz turned and saw her. There was no anger in her eyes, only peace. The truth revealed. That evening, Adaiz sat with her parents. "Mama, Papa, I've remembered." Ajay and Caro held their breath. The river did not curse us, it corrected us. I was allowed to stay not by accident, but because I have work to do. She explained that during the ritual years ago, when she collapsed, her spirit entered the river. The river goddess spoke to her. She was given a choice: return to the waters, or stay among humans and become a bridge between both worlds. She chose to stay, not out of anger, but out of mercy. From that day, people no longer called her the stolen child. They called her Adaiz of the river. She became known across villages, not as a witch, not as a spirit child, but as a healer. Her words carried power. Her water carried healing. Even AJ's mother, once the loudest critic, would sit proudly outside and say, "This child is our greatest blessing." Final moral. In many communities, when a child does not come, blame falls quickly on the woman. But life is deeper than blame. Infertility is not a woman's shame. Before pointing fingers, seek truth. Cruel words can push a wounded heart into darkness. Compassion restores what judgment destroys.
Subscribe whenever you come across my videos to those that